My time to shine, baby. Hey, buddy, gonna have to step aside. I'm the new guy. New Batman.
My movie hasn't even come out yet. What do you mean you're the new guy?
Yeah, sorry, they just recast it. But hey, look, it could be worse, man. We could be Superman. Good point.
Well, what the flying fadoodle is happening here, Batman fans? We got ourselves here an update concerning the Batman universe as a whole. And this right here is just some shocking and utterly confusing news about what DC is wanting to do with the future of the Batman character. I'ma definitely need to hear from the Batman community out there on how you feel about the DC universe wanting to bring in two different Batman, separate series, both going on at the exact same time. Do you think the general audience will go for this? Will they understand it? Will you be okay with this? As well as don't be forgetting to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We talk anything and everything movie related here. Alright, so yes, you read my title correctly and the information I'm giving to you is not wrong at all. The DC universe is wanting to bring in yet another Batman, but instead of rebooting, replacing, getting rid of Robert Pattinson's Batman, this will be a whole nother Batman character that will have his own separate franchise, separate from what they're doing with the Matt Reeves universe. And I am just so puzzled and thinking, why is this happening? Let's start off here with going into the details here. So you guys might have known if you're following some of my videos the past couple of days, Walter Hamada, who is a head over at DC, handles a lot of the up and coming projects at Warner Brothers concerning a lot of the DC superheroes. He did a big interview with the New York Times, gave out a bunch of juicy details about the future of what Warner Brothers is wanting to do with a bunch of their DC characters. And even though I thought I covered all of this, there was one part at the end of the article that I missed that really opens the door for something crazy that a lot of fans in the movie community are starting to notice and wanting to talk about. In an article here we have it written, Robert Pattinson isn't going to be the only Dark Knight in town when the Batman is released, as the plan at DC Films moving forward is to produce not just one, but two separate Batman movie franchises running simultaneously. In a recent interview with the New York Times, DC Films president Walter Hamada spoke about the plans, confirming that a new actor will be brought in to replace Ben Affleck in the DCEU, while Pattinson will still play the superhero in an unconnected movie of his own. Now, like I said, I talked about this slightly, but I was just missing the huge part of this story where Walter Hamada said himself about how they're handling the interconnection between all their DC movies, on which ones are connected to each other, which are in their own separate universes. Because he said concerning the Batman in relation to movies like the Justice League or Wonder Woman or the upcoming Flash, the Batman starring Robert Pattinson is being described as some characters, Wonder Woman, portrayed by Gal Gadot, for instance, will continue their adventures on Earth 1, while a new incarnation, Mr. Pattinson, as the Batman, will populate Earth 2, which is kind of the DC's universe cheap way of saying all our movies are connected even if our characters cannot physically meet each other. So the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, that's on Earth 3 in its own separate universe. Robert Pattinson's Batman, they just said he's on Earth 2 in his own little universe. And Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck's Batman, they are all part of Earth 1, which is their main universe where all their films are connected. Confused yet? Hold on. Continuing on with what Walter Hamada said about these two different Batman universes, he says, I don't think anyone else has ever attempted this, Hamada said, of DC Films' plan for bringing two different Batman to theaters on a consistent basis, but audiences are sophisticated enough to understand it, and if we make good movies, they will go with it. Alright, now let's break this down. So for one, it sounds like Robert Pattinson still seems to be the future, still seems to be the Batman that they want to keep true and make as many sequels as they can. On that note, do not be believing any of the BS nonsense rumors going around right now that Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson are button heads on the set of the Batman. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but there's a ridiculous rumor from an unreliable source called The Sun, who's saying that Robert Pattinson is getting very frustrated with Matt Reeves, who is being a perfectionist on the set of the Batman and making him do an unnecessary amount of takes while he is just being tortured uncomfortable in that bulky Batman suit. I really don't believe this is happening, and even if it is, I think it's being wildly exaggerated, because here's a clip of Christian Bale also making the same complaint.
There's naturally, after 6 months of filming, a kind of a love-hate relationship with the thing, because you get headaches in that thing, you know? And I kind of say to myself, use it, you know? The guy's meant to be kind of fierce. When you get a headache, you feel fierce anyway, you know? You got no time for anybody, you're impatient. So I just said to myself, use it, you know, and I just put up with it, you know. This is a hell of an honor, really, getting to wear this.
Michael Keaton has even done interviews where he himself said also he hated being in his Batman suit, that he could never hear anything and was kind of uncomfortable with it. It's just part of the job. Every actor who's ever worn a Batman suit and has to spend basically the entire day sweating, taking orders, doing multiple movements is gonna hate it. But I don't think Robert Pattinson is quitting anytime soon. He knows what he signed up for, and he's gonna go through with it. Sorry about that little rant right there. I just can't believe we still have people complaining about Robert Pattinson as Batman after that amazing trailer we got. But getting back to this just news that is so puzzling to me, that Warner Brothers wants to go ahead and introduce a second Batman to have his own movies go along and have two different Gotham cities happening at the same time. Because when Walter Hamada was mentioning that we were going to get two different Gothams, I just thought he was referencing Tim Burton's Gotham City that we're going to be getting in the Flash movie. Don't forget, this Flash movie is basically the DC Universe's Spider-Man 3, where we're going to be doing a whole bunch of multiverse jumping, and a large chunk of that being Ezra Miller stuck in Tim Burton's Gotham City where he encounters Michael Keaton as Batman, and I just thought that's what he meant. But that statement right there of a continuous saga, meaning they're planning multiple sequels or multiple films with a different Gotham City while Robert Pattinson is doing his own thing. Before I even break down on who I think this new Batman could be and what would make sense for them to introduce, I just don't think this is a great idea. I mean, like I did with my little cringy intro right there, I'm a big Superman fan as well, and you're telling me we have like 50 Batman going on at the exact same time while you can't figure out one Superman movie? Like, I've been waiting for a sequel to Man of Steel or a new rebooted Superman universe out there, but all we have so far is Superman and Lois, which, hey, I'm excited if you're excited for that, but that's not really the Superman I've been dying to see on screen. It's just kind of crazy how Warner Brothers wants to constantly throw Batman at our faces, and yeah, admittedly, I'm gonna pay a ticket every time. But the world record you just set right now of bringing in a whole new Batman while your most recent new Batman isn't even out yet, I think is just crazy. Because even jumping off the comments that he made right there, if we make good movies, they will go with it. It's like, yes, us nerdy geek boys who watch these YouTube videos about movies or know everything going on in Hollywood with their up-and-coming films, yeah, we can understand the difference that, oh, Robert Pattinson's Batman is in this world, and then this new Batman that you're introducing is in this whole other world. We can differentiate between that. But the general audience that is like 80 to 70% of the people going out there, I don't think are going to understand that difference, aren't going to know what's going on. There's going to be people who go watch Robert Pattinson's Batman and go, where's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, man? I just saw that origin movie about him. How come he's not in this film? But okay, if they're going to go ahead and do this, who could be our new Batman? There's a couple of options here, and I'm going to break them down for you. So from that article, what they're saying is they want to replace Ben Affleck as Batman. Now, whenever I go ahead and say that, people get their panties all up in a bunch, get so angry at me, and just want to throw fireballs. When I want to remind you, I'm a fan of Ben Affleck. I like what he did with his Batman, and I wish he got his own solo movie and was able to do everything he wanted with the character, but he himself made it clear several times that he had given up on the character, and the director, Andy Muschietti, who's making The Flash, and everyone involved at Warner Brothers had to beg and plead him to come in just to do a small role in the Flash movie that he eventually accepted. So we are seeing Ben Affleck back as Batman one more time in The Flash, but from my understanding, it is going to be his goodbye song. It is going to be the farewell to that character. So I really don't think Ben Affleck is going to be the second Batman aside from Robert Pattinson, either on HBO Max or in his own series. The man is very busy directing a whole bunch of other movies and also going to be starring in so many others. I don't think he's ready to put on the cape right now. So I'm going to throw Ben Affleck out for right now. I really thought this second Batman and what they're referring to as the other Gotham City is Michael Keaton. That just makes the most amount of sense. He's already there. He's already confirmed to be part of the Flash movie. And if you signed him up for that one film, I gotta believe you brought him on for more. But then even that theory of Michael Keaton coming in kind of gets taken away because in the article they say a new actor replacing Ben Affleck. So it's like, this isn't a new actor. This is an old actor, Michael Keaton, coming in who's played Batman before. So this only leaves me to one option that, you know what, the more I think about it, could make the most amount of sense, and that is Terry McGinnis, a Batman Beyond series. Because if you really think about it, could you see yourself with two different Batman universes happening at the same time, where both the Batman are essentially very much alike? What I mean by that is we have a modern day grounded Batman with Robert Pattinson. If they throw in another modern day grounded Batman played by a different actor, then that's really confusing, and I don't see the point of doing them at the exact same time. So the most sense that would be a completely different take on Batman and would be refreshing to watch, separate from Robert Pattinson's universe, is a Batman set in the future with a teenager playing Batman for once, because that is what Batman Beyond is. It's basically a Spider-Man with a very high-teched out suit. We could be getting future versions of some classic Batman villains, and that's how you still bring in Michael Keaton as your old Bruce Wayne, mentoring and teaching this new Batman. That is really the only way I can see this making sense, and it being clear to general audiences what timeline they're following, because obviously those two Gothams would look drastically different, one being in the future and one being modern day. There's still a big part of me that thinks that this was all sort of a miscommunication of sorts, or maybe Walter Hamada didn't completely phrase it right, but I mean, he says it right there, two Gotham cities at the same time. It's never been done before, and it's what they're wanting to do here, so only time will tell. I just still kind of am hoping they give Robert Pattinson a little breathing room, they give his movies time to shine, because you really want to have two Batman movies overshadowing each other? Come on now. But that is just what's going on with the Batman universe. Really crazy stuff. Unbelievable that this is where we're headed with the universe of the DC world. I am just hoping that 2021 finally brings us the news that we've all been waiting for, of an announcement of some sort of Superman movie. But I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about the president of DC Films saying they want to have two separate Gothams going on at the exact same time? Who do you want this second Batman to be? How do you think this will conflict with Robert Pattinson's Batman? And do you think it could work for general audiences? I know you yourself will understand it, but will your granny or your mother be willing to buy a ticket to two different Batman movies? Anything and everything, you guys go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.